What's up guys, Rob from TalonMotorParts.com here, and today we're going to be replacing the motor assembly for a Minn Kota Talon Bluetooth model. For this video we're going to be replacing the motor assembly on a Talon Bluetooth model. The replacement for the motor assembly on a non-Bluetooth model is basically the same, other than the way that the motor is mounted to the Talon extrusion. The motor is located on the inside of the housing covers. The motor shaft spins the wrap drum, causing the spike and inner extrusions to go up and down. If your Talon is making a lot of noise when deploying or retracting, or if it's running slow or locked up, the motor could be your problem. If you guys need to pick one of these up, we'll have the link in the description below. I'm going to show you how to replace it step by step, so let's get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is disconnect the Talon from power. Next, we're going to remove the housing covers. There's two number 2 Phillips screws on one side and 6 on the other side. And now we can remove the housing covers. Now we can free up the motor shaft from the wrap drum. First, you're going to remove this E-clip with a flathead screwdriver. Next, we can remove the wrap drum spacer with a pair of needle nose pliers. And now we can slide the wrap drum over to pull out the drive pin. We're going to remove the red and black power wires and also the yellow wires from the control board. Now we can remove the 3 Phillips screws from the bracket holding the motor on. Now we can slide the motor out. I recommend using a screwdriver from the opposite side to hold the wrap drum in place while the motor is out. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our new motor. You're going to start by putting the E-clip into this groove right here. And once that's in place, we can slide the brass bushing down the shaft and up to the E-clip. And now we can reinstall our motor assembly. And now we can put our 3 motor screws back in. You'll want to start these by hand so that you don't cross thread them. And now we can feed the motor wires down underneath the control board. Now that the motor's mounted, we need to check to see if the drive pin hole on the motor shaft is lined up with the groove on the wrap drum. If it is, you can go ahead and put your drive pin back in and lock the wrap drum back into place. If it's not, an easy way to get it lined up is to hook 12 volts to the yellow wires to disengage the motor brake. Once you do this, you can spin the motor using a 7/16 wrench. You can also do this with the motor still mounted. I just have this one off to make it easier to demonstrate. Now that these are lined up, we can drop the drive pin down into place. I'm going to put some pressure on it from the wrap drum so it doesn't fall out. We're going to tap it down there. Now we can reconnect our motor wires to the control board. I'm going to slide the heat shrink onto the wire. And then the red one is going to go to this far post. And the black to this post. Now we can connect the yellow brake wires from the motor to the yellow wires on the control board using the Scotch lock connectors. You're going to slide the wire down into the hole until it's tight. And the same on the other hole with the wire from the board. And crimp it tight. And once those are tight, we can slide the wires back under the control board and get them out of the way. And now we can put a little bit of heat on the heat shrink to seal the connections. Now we can put our brass bushing back on the shaft, our wrap drum spacer back in, and last, the E-clip. And once you do that, you can go ahead and put your housing covers back on. Make sure when you're putting these housing covers back on that you check that the buttons are all compressing when you push these buttons. It's pretty aggravating when you put the covers all back together and then the button is slightly off and it's not engaging on the control board. So just be aware of that as you're putting the covers back on. And once the covers are put back on, you can go ahead and test. If everything works okay, you are finished. So that covers it for the motor replacement. If you guys need to pick one of these up, we'll have the link in the description below. I hope this video helped. If it did, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and keep trolling.